When I was in 5th grade, I got to go on this field trip to Pigeon Point Lighthouse. And we also were divided up into different groups. My group was the beach comber group. And we were gonna spend a bunch of time tide pooling. And knowing that this was gonna happen a few days before we left, I went in my parents' garage and I borrowed my dad's fish wader boots, these gigantic olive green boots that went up to here on me, mainly because I hadn't grown yet and I was a tiny dude. And I hopped on the bus with my friends. My friends saw the boots and they went, "Those are totally awesome." And I said, "I totally know." And we hopped off the bus and we went tide pooling. And my friends were saying, "I don't want to get my toesies wet." Meanwhile, I toss on my boots and I become like Dora the Explorer. I'm like, "I'm in those boots," you know? And we hop in and I'm like in the water. I'm like, "Look, it's a sea star. Look, it's a sea urchin. Look, it's a sea anemone." And everything is totally awesome until the tide comes in. And the waves get big. Like, anyone watch Deadliest Catch on the Discovery Channel? Like, not that big, because then I'd be totally dead. The waves come and they hit me. I mean, they don't actually hit me because I'd be like, that's a disrespectful wave. But they crash down on me. And my boots that had been this nice water repellent became this nice water receptacle. And they began to fill with water. And I began to sink and get dragged out into the ocean. And because I'm a guy, and like every guy in this room, I exude a strong masculine energy 100% of the time. I responded the way in which any guy would respond, which was, and my class heard my masculine cries. And they gather around and they're all trying to grab me and they're like holding on like a little piece of my clothes. And eventually my teacher grabs me by the back of my shirt and he like lifts me up onto the rock. And I go and I like take off my boots and a bunch of water and like Nemo comes out. That's going on. I was like, "I hate you, boots, you are dumb." And after a few moments, my friend's like, "Come on, Patrick, put back on your boots." And I said, "No, those boots in the ocean tried to eat me. I hate you, boots, you are dumb." And I refused to go back in. I disengaged. I totally sat off to the sideline. And I didn't participate anymore. And again, we laugh about this, but the sad thing again is for all of it, for all of us, this happened to us too. We had our own set of boots when we were kids, these things that brought us such incredible confidence. You're like, "Oh my gosh, I really love to color. I really love to read. I really love playing basketball." And as we age, there's a day when someone went and they dumped some water in your boots. You went to go and pick up that crayon and someone said, "What are you, a little kid?" You're like, "Oh, we stopped coloring as much." You went to go and pick up that book that you really love to read, and someone said, "What are you, a teacher's pet?" Like, "Oh," and we stopped reading for pleasure as much. You went to go and shoot a basket at recess, and you missed the shot, and someone made fun of it, you missed it. And so rather than practicing it and perfecting that shot, we stopped playing. We no longer have recess. We call it passing period or break. Do you want to know why you don't have recess anymore? It's not because your teachers got together one day and they're like, "How do we make their lives more miserable? Take away recess. Brilliant, Helen." No, it's not that whatsoever. The thing that shifted is that you took it away. You took it away from one another in the way in which we interacted. We as people, we crave acceptance, not exception. And yet our world needs some exceptional leaders. It needs people willing to be bold enough to be different. We desired so much to fit in that any part or any aspect of ourselves that didn't sort of fit that mold, we sort of shaved off. And we let it sort of drift off to the sideline. And the challenges that we have these days now as leaders, when our world needs people to be a little bit bolder. It needs people to be a little bit richer. There's this Buddhist saying that says, "In the absence of light, darkness prevails." In the absence of light, darkness prevails. There is so much perceived darkness in our world. There's so much negativity. It's what bombards our news stations. It's what bombards our social media channels when we cry out and we see someone see me. And the question again, do we let that darkness overwhelm us, or do we perhaps become that beacon? We become a source of light, a brightness on our campuses that can begin to help our classmates navigate these treacherous waters. Can we make these things come to life? Can we come to an event like this and get recharged and rejuvenated and bail out just a little bit so that we come back to our campuses, we can go and give just a little bit more, even though it's tough, even though it's difficult. It's a matter of us trying to find the ways to persevere. And it's not easy. But if we can kind of go and recognize that there is some purpose in our passion, there's a reason that we're here, and there's a reason that we do these things, our lives can become richer and bolder.